We are going to be building a new entertainment center for the living room. I've got some old wood, of course. I thought that we'd fire it up and let you see what we're doing. So we've got this old piece of, I don't even know. It's probably, let's set the camera down here. Sorry about that. It's, let's see, 3 inches thick, a little over 3 inches thick by about 18 3/4 wide. It had a bunch of paint chips on it. I don't know if you can see many of the paint chips left. There's some here, right here. Yeah, there you go. So paint chips, all that kind of good stuff. Cracked in the middle. Some big old knots in it. Some cool stuff like that. So what we're gonna do is take this piece. It's approximately the right size for what we want for the top of it, the entertainment center. Sand this thing down, starting with 60 grit, probably go to 120 and then 220 on top of that. Then we're gonna poly it, try and seal up all the cracks, little knot holes, things like that. Seal up all the chipped paint for sure, to get that all permanently sealed in so it won't flake off anymore and be harmful to anybody. So here we go. So here's something I want to talk about real quick while I'm doing this process. Old wood, paint chips. Old wood not so much because it's just old wood. Old Douglas fir is this one. But the paint chips thing, you definitely don't want to just leave that laying around or blow it outside the door. You want to go ahead and suck it up and throw it away. So keep that in mind. Hey, just wanted to show you real quick. This board has some gnarly crackage to it. Basically cracked right in half, and I don't want to lose it. So we're just going to take some of our glue, run right down the crack, split it open. I like to make sure I do it on the side, you know, the underside or the back side or whatever that's going to be. And then try to make sure we get all that glue in there. And then we'll grab some quick clamps. That's what I'm talking about. There it is. This is the top. It is, I'm only able to keep the garage at 62 degrees out here. And so this, if you can see it, yeah, right there, is a bunch of poly that's down in the crack that is not drying. And it's been like 2 days now and it's still not dried. So I'm a little frustrated. But also I am putting going ahead and moving forward with the rest of the boards. I did want to show you this board in particular. If you can see the large crack right here, several of these boards are actually splitting pretty bad right now. But I just wanted to point that out because it doesn't really matter. I feel pretty confident that we're gonna be able to pull this back together, and then once we put it on the piece itself, the crack is, the board is going to be right back to where it needs to be to support whatever we choose to put on it. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. And then also this board is pretty cool because it's got these in it. So this was a big gigantic beam, old beam in a building, and a buddy of mine, thanks Chris Hoylman, was able to cut this, and Mike Maxwell, if you ever watch this, was able to cut this beam into pieces, boards, and this is, I'm not entirely sure for sure, but this would have been probably some sort of bolt that was going into this piece. So you got to imagine this thing was however thick, and this was some sort of bolt or something that went into there. Pretty cool, to think about that it was used for some structural beam at one point, and now we're using it to build furniture out of. So the top is looking pretty good. I don't love it, or we don't love it, because it does have a little bit of a yellow tint to it now, but I think it's going to darken up and come back once the poly cures 100%. But the thing I did want to show you is I tried to fill this crack with poly, and it just was not drying. It might dry if it was 80 degrees outside, but I'm barely keeping it at 60, and so it wasn't drying. So I tipped it over, let all the poly drip out of it, and now I've got these little drip marks that gonna have to sand off. I'm hoping that it's gonna come out completely, but we'll see. Yeah, see that right there. I don't love it, but I think that we'll be able to salvage it, and it's gonna look awesome. So let's see, where did I leave off? Got all the boards cut last time, got poly on them, did a sand on them so they're nice and smooth, good finish on them. I never really pre-finished before on other projects, and so I'm really trying this time to do that. You gotta definitely use a little bit more patience, but I think it's gonna work out a lot better. Took the boards, set them up here, got them marked out where we wanted the shelves and how we wanted the sides put together. This is 2 different boards. I biscuit jointed them together last night, so they're good to go. And then laying it out on the outside for the screws. I glued it, nailed it with the pin nailer, and then now I'm putting some screws in it to hold it all together nice and secure, because I didn't do any dados or rabbits or whatever the heck you call those things. I'm not really good at that. A bunch of information. Yeah. So I'm just laying the screw holes out with the square, transferred the edge over, screwing them in with a countersink bit, set it for the depth of the screw, and then I'm actually even adding a little bit of glue to the screw head, as I put it in there to make it extra secure. At least I hope so. It's starting to come together. We're gonna the other thing I'm gonna do today is put the back pieces on and get those all secured up. So I'll be able to stand this thing up today and put the top on it. At least I should be able to, and get going with a bunch of the trim pieces. There's a bunch of trim pieces that we're going to do on the outside. So. Hey, I was just thinking I need to show you guys that I'm actually using old wood, scrap wood. right? So this is, I hate to say it, use the word pallet wood, but it actually is a pallet board. Big pallet. It's not pine though, it's fir. It's got plenty of nails in it, so we'll actually pull the nails out. Some of them want to come out, some of them don't. Cool thing is here, you don't have to be nice. Who likes to be nice all the time? No, I'm just joking. No, really, you do. You don't have to be super nice, right? You can have some hits from the hammer. Some pieces come out. Big deal, right? Sand it, and it's all gonna be fine. There it is. All right, so we've got the majority of this thing finished up. Working on the cupboard, compartment, whatever you want to call it, that is going to house the gaming devices and the cable box and DVD player and that kind of thing. So I'll just give you a little glimpse into that. So we put, you got the two shelves here. I split it right in the middle, and the dimension that I needed for this, for all those boxes and everything, was about 17 inches. That gives me about an inch or so on both sides, give or take, to put some things in there. And then I wanted 3 shelves in there. So I installed these rails here to support the 2 shelves, cut my boards down to fit, and they fit right in. Like so. Got the shelves in, and then we want this to open up. So I created a door. I had to use two pieces of wood, ripped them down, put them together, installed some backing pieces with some glue and some pin nails, and then I sealed the whole thing with poly. So that's what we've got there. That's going to go on there like so. It's going to be pretty awesome. I'm going to trim that out and put an X in it also, I believe. And then I needed a hinge system, and I really like these hinges. I've used them several other times on some of my hidden shelves. And then thank goodness, one of the things that my folks got me as a Christmas present was this nice little jig here. To create the hole that these hinges sit down in. So I just had to take this up here, make a little mark with the in the jig, and then drill this, boom, right down into there with the Forstner bit. And then the hinges backwards sit real nice right down in there. Whenever possible, you definitely want to try and even pre-finish some of the backside, at least darken it up if it's a dark color on the front, just in case a little bit of it shows around the edge or something like that. Once you get it put back, or once you get it put back, not back together, put together. In the nail holes, inside the cuts, the joints, all that kind of good stuff.